hold up.
Oh. Stop! This is a warning from the future.
That's right. It's been 1.5 years since we originally recorded this Hellboy finale, and with such a delayed conclusion, I'm afraid it inadvertently extended HELLYEAR from 2019 well into 2020, causing untold amounts of chaos and destruction.
I don't know if you know this, Dave, but there's been a worldwide pandemic.
I've heard.
There's almost murder hornets.
I know! And I'm afraid we conjured this. We conjured something from the darkness and unknowingly allowed it to just to fester and expand beyond the confines of 1 year's time.
Big oops.
One for the books. But we're closing that book today. For good. And for the good of the universe, we're concluding HELLYEAR, and by doing so, may God have mercy.
Hello, Hellboy fans out there. Short of the Max Extreme here.
And Ghost Hunter Dave.
Together, we form Imperius Rex.
That's right. That's right. We do. We do.
Yeah, that's right. I wore my second sexiest shirt for the, I would say, beginning of the end for Hellboy here in the Omnibus collection.
I would say it's the entire end, because that's how we're going to cover it.
Yes.
We're winding down the year. I don't know how many more episodes I've got in me. We're going to do it all in one shot. So, we're talking about the Dark Horse Hellboy Omnibus Volume 3, titled The Wild Hunt, and this collects the last 3 arcs of the Hellboy main title. This is the last segment of Hellboy's life, collecting Darkness Calls, The Wild Hunt, and
The Storm and the Fury.
So we're kicking off with Darkness Calls, published in 2007, and this 6-issue miniseries featured the first artwork of Hellboy mainstay, Duncan Fegredo, who became the series' full-time illustrator, picking up the duties from Mignola himself.
So, but this, it's confusing to me. Not really confusing to me. I get it.
Oh,
like how everything's all
cleared that up.
how everything's all put together
coaster.
chronologically in this. So it's kind of weird to like be almost at the end of like the Hellboy story and just seeing like, I guess, for the first time Duncan Fegredo's art.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah,
kind of fun.
We did, I guess we touched on it during the Midnight Circus that we threw in there chronologically earlier in the short story collection. Yeah. But yeah, this is where he first appeared on the title.
Cool.
Yep. And fun fact, he took over or replaced Lee Bermejo, who was originally slated to draw the book, even got so far as he had 1 issue done, and I don't know what all happened, but they decided to go a different direction and brought on Duncan.
Yeah, looks too good. Sorry. We're not going to throw it in there.
I will say, Fegredo does a great job kind of mirroring Mignola's style, but he does bring his own personality to it. It's a lot more detailed, but you can definitely tell parts where he kind of pared his own style back to mimic Mignola's more.
Yeah, whereas you can actually see Bermejo's art on the internet, just if you search it, as I just did minutes ago. And it looks really good, but it's definitely just his style.
Yeah. It kind of looks like Adam Hughes when Hughes does a Hellboy story.
For sure.
Or maybe Hughes looks like Bermejo.
We'll never know.
We won't. Will this even make it in the episode?
No!
This picks up after The Island and the more recently published Into the Silent Sea, where Hellboy has been absent from the BPRD for 6 years. He's now staying in England at the home of his old friend, Harry Middleton, friend of his dad's. And he seems fairly content, but wouldn't you know it, evil is a-brewing. Something awful's happening with them witches.
That's right. And
they call upon Hellboy to become their new king. Which, in typical Hellboy fashion, he basically says, go screw off.
Yep.
And then he is whisked away to kind of like this backdoor kingdom ruled by the Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga not taking any of his shit either.
Oh, no. Baba Yaga's out for blood.
Oh, boy, is she.
So the witches originally sought out Hellboy's help because Igor Bromhead, the twindly lizard bottom guy, The book opens with him capturing and entombing Hecate.
Yeah.
Or Hecate.
Yeah. We'll never get it.
We'll
even
never
though we've
know.
been told
Yes.
several times.
It hasn't completely sunk in. So they're without a queen. She was like the queen of the witches.
Yeah.
And they're like, we need a leader. How
Right.
about this Hellboy?
Yeah.
And he tells them, get bent.
Yep.
So, they shipped him away. So Hellboy wakes up in this desolate, snow-covered world at the mercy of Baba Yaga herself.
Mm-hmm.
And from here, he proceeds to battle armies of the undead, along with the Baba Yaga's own personal hitman, Koshi the Deathless.
Mm-hmm. I think that's right.
Koshi. You just have to choke on a chicken bone from that chicken leg house of hers while you're pronouncing his name. And he's doing it because he wants to die. Mm-hmm. He's like this great soldier, but he struck a deal with the Baba Yaga where he is resurrected after every death because she has his soul, like, in an egg, in a goose, in a duck, in a rabbit, in a goat somewhere.
It's a turducken of a situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she can always bring him back with her power.
Yeah.
So he just wants to go at this point. He's been brought back to life too many times. Not our errand boy, Baba Yaga.
Get out of your bobs.
Meanwhile, back on Earth,
Meanwhile.
Grogotch.
Oh, that old sucker.
Yeah, the pig man.
Yep.
Yep. Convinces the witches of Earth to resurrect Nimue, the Blood Queen,
Yeah.
as their new leader because he's done with humanity. They've had their time. It's time for the fairy kingdom to reclaim the land because if they don't, they're gonna be forgotten and gone for good.
So the first time I have read through this, I also was saying Nimue. I'm pretty sure it's Nimue.
Nimue.
Yes.
Did you get that from the new movie?
I don't remember much of the
Trevor
new movie.
Broom?
Yeah, I don't remember much of the new movie, but there is an old Sam Neill NBC direct-to-video Merlin thing, and he had a relationship with a Nimue.
Ooh, and that pops up in here.
It does.
Well, I've never doubted Sam Neill. But just to be safe, let's just refer to her as the Blood Queen.
You got it.
Because I've already forgotten how you pronounced it. So Grogotch, if that is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it is.
You should really find some sort of pronunciation scale on this. He claims this is for the betterment of their kingdom, but he's harboring a grudge against Hellboy.
For sure.
For trapping him in that goddamn pig body.
You bet he is. Even to the point where, like, everyone is like, you really don't understand, like, the, like, scope of this?
The ramifications. This bitch is crazy.
This is bad. I got it under control. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
Big body.
Big body.
I gotta throw that in there.
Right. So the wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Something wicked's coming
You bet.
this way, I believe is the phrase.
And it
Ray
comes-
Bradbury. So back in Baba Yaga land, which I believe is called Beyond the Thrice 9 Lands in the Thrice 10th Kingdom.
Rolls right off the tongue.
That's right. Hellboy continues to battle Koshi and actually befriends a little girl who her name is Visalisa, I believe. It's the spirit of this long-dead Russian girl who bestows to him a couple magical gifts that aid him in defeating Koshi. Koshi?
Like a kerchief and a comb?
Oh, yeah.
Great. I remember.
Great gifts. So she helps him out. Hellboy battles Koshi.
Yes.
The Baba Yaga just keeps bringing him back to life, just sucking that goat dry. Oh
There's
my
a huge
lord!
makeout sesh with a goat in this.
Just keeps on draining it, and then draining her.
Oh yeah.
And by the end, she's spent. The goat's dried up husk of a mammal, and Hellboy is on his way out. He defeated the villains. He gets away and gets back to the main realm, I guess.
Yeah. And then this winds up at the very end of Darkness Calls, where the Blood Queen is finally summoned, and Grogotch standing there triumphant.
Yes.
I did it. I fucking did it.
Meanwhile, there's a couple epilogues to this, too.
So many meanwhiles.
Hellboy goes and offs old Igor Snakeskin.
Yep. Yeah.
I guess, just tying up loose ends there. It's like, oh yeah, fuck you. And Graugach, after exhuming the Blood Queen, leads to the death of kind of a Hellboy background mainstay, King Dagda, who is always like one of those 3 people watching everything unfold.
Yeah.
Just one of his followers gets really up in arms and excited and just like knifes the shit out of him.
Yeah.
So, hot off Darkness Calls, we find ourselves moving on to the Wild Hunt, an 8-issue miniseries published in 2008 that ended up being the inspiration and, for the most part, basis of the newest Hellboy movie that came out earlier this year.
Yeah, this whole third omnibus is like what they drew inspiration on.
It's like going to reboot it with the last Hellboy story. Primarily this one, though. Like, a lot of the elements in the movie are from this. And then they kind of, like, smudge other things as it goes on.
Very much smudged.
Yes. So in this arc, Hellboy is called back to the old Osiris Club, Gentleman's Club, to aid them in the slaying of giants during a escapade that they dub the Wild Hunt. He is betrayed and left for dead by the club members. And that's before they find themselves devoured by hungry giants. Get what's coming to them.
They'll get you every time. You don't think they'd be so sneaky, but they are.
Oh my god. Shortly after that, Hellboy awakens and runs into a fully grown Alice Monaghan. Monaghan? Monaghan? Monaghan.
Monaghan? I think I said Monaghan. Who cares?
No. That's all gonna be scrapped. Also known as the little girl he rescued from the fairies in the corpse.
There's a lot of stuff in this last chunk that really
comes from the corpse.
Yeah, it comes from the corpse, but like a lot of like
throwaway moments,
cherry picking from like earlier moments in the series where I guess I would have never thought it would have gone this way.
There's a lot of stuff in this arc that I never would have thought Hellboy was going to go that way.
Right. Yeah.
So she's a beautiful young woman now.
Yeah.
And her and Hellboy kind of strike up a bit of a kind of a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
It would have been had it progressed further.
Correct.
So the two of them embark on a journey to meet Queen Mab. From the lore.
Yeah.
Who tells them of an upcoming war led by the Queen of Blood herself. And that's something that only Hellboy can prevent by donning the old fiery crown, commanding an army of hell, and countering her own army.
To Hellboy's chagrin, more or less, just like, okay.
Yep. That's kind of the same answer as I'm like, hey, Troy, we're going to do all of Before Watchmen.
Okay. Yeah.
So he learns that, and then they continue on in their journey, and wind up at this old, like, dilapidated castle full of hanging suits of armor, a big, like, steam-powered guardsman.
Yep.
Bunch of weird fairy skeleton guys, and Alice is injured, and Hellboy needs help. So he goes in there. He meets with Morgan Le Fay, who is the queen of the castle, and she drops a bombshell.
Isn't it bad that we both went to Borat on that?
Morgan Le Fay gives Hellboy a history lesson, starting with King Arthur, ending with Hellboy.
Yeah.
The last living descendant of King Arthur.
This is the one thing in Hellboy that I'm still not sure how much I like it.
Yeah.
I guess you never see it coming, so it's quite a surprise.
Absolutely.
It's, I mean, it's not even really it comes and sneaks up on you, because it's like all of this Arthurian literature like backing up the last few issues.
Well, yeah, Queen Mab and Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah.
And then, as we said, the Blood Queen with
right.
her relationship.
Nimue.
Yeah, whatever.
Nimue.
With Merlin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you get little hints of it, But I never expected it to go that route. And when I first read it, I was a little off-put. But then as I saw the whole thing play out and then came back and reread it, I can't see it going any other way.
Yeah. I guess it helps that he's, like, dismissive of it. Mm-hmm. As he is most things.
Yes.
Because if I think he pulled that sword and was like, I have the power! I would have been like, okay.
All right, Hellboy, rein it in.
But yeah, so I don't know. I still am on the fence still about it, but I accepted it into my life.
Well, it's weird, like, through the different stages of Hellboy, the beginning, middle, and end chunk, it does kind of go through different genres, I guess, where it starts with very, like, Lovecraftian occult horror, and then it kind of goes into a little bit of, like, fantasy, fairy tale stuff, and then it ends with this full-on, like, Arthurian siege on a castle.
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess, that stage of Hellboy's life where it's like, okay, now it's going to be this weird, like, Quest for Camelot type of story.
I didn't read into whether Mignola had this in mind for the whole thing. Like, from the get-go. Was this your end game?
I can't imagine it was.
I can't imagine it either. It seems like such a left turn.
Yes.
Like, I want to do this now. And I can because I own everything. I'm like, okay, you can do whatever you want.
Gotta keep himself thinking. Keep him on his toes. So yes, Hellboy discovers he is in fact the rightful king of Britain. She offers him Excalibur, but he refuses, as he normally does. Yep. The reason is because he's afraid of his own nature, being a beast from hell, and realizing what he does when he gets a little angry sometimes, where he sees red and slaughters a field of giants. Right. He's worried that, like, that power will corrupt him, and he will bring on hell on earth. So he's a respectable guy.
Yeah.
He throws that Excalibur. You know what? He doesn't even touch it. He just leaves it.
Just leaves it there. Picks up a big fucking axe instead.
Yeah. But as the story goes on, he is forced to draw the sword to save Alice, who is terminally injured. And he picks it up and snaps out of it, and they're back in rural England. Yeah. Was it all a dream? Who knows? Where'd the sword come from? I guess I'm the king of England. Let's go get a drink. And they head to a pub. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Blood Queen, Nimue, is at almost full power. She's almost at her final form.
Yep, her blood level is reaching critical. For being 8 issues, this one feels like one of the briefest in terms of what happens in it. Yeah. You get a dump of exposition on the background. Yeah. The backstory of Hellboy, but there isn't a whole lot of, like, really big set pieces. Yeah. Other than he goes to the castle and learns his true history.
You need to know this before we get to the end.
Yeah. It's the middle chapter. Yeah. Which it absolutely is. Yep. So now, Troy, we're on the home stretch.
That's right.
We're coming up to our last book, The Storm and the Fury. Hellboy and Alice continue to roam England, discovering that several churches are claiming that the noble dead have arisen from their graves. Can you believe it?
Well, I read it.
Like a month ago.
Oh, okay.
Before they can get too far, they are attacked by an enchanted porcupine creature, one of Nimue's henchmen.
Is it porcupine or porcupine?
Hedgehog.
Okay. You got me there.
I love this little guy. He's so full of piss and vinegar, and then he gets all beefed up, and he looks awesome. He looks like one of the orcs in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Great character design, and a really good fight, too, between the two of them. Yeah. Hacking and slashing each other up.
Chopping each other up.
That's right. Then he's dead.
Well, you'll have that.
We also learn of the Blood Queen's history, a witch who tricked Merlin into giving her his secrets and also driving her insane.
Oh, well, I guess she got what's coming to her then.
Yes, and then even more so because she was betrayed by her brethren, killed, buried,
chopped, split up.
Yep. Oh yeah, she went through hell.
I guess she got it.
If anything, we have it coming. But she's coming for blood. Even Grogwatch, Gregory, He's second guessing his decisions. He's like, oh shit, I made a big mistake.
Everyone was right.
Yeah.
I should have listened to everyone.
Should have just stayed in the pig body. Get some nice slop.
Yeah. Easy.
Yes.
Roll around in shit.
But he's done.
Yep.
He's cast aside by her.
Mm-hmm.
He's just wallowing in self-pity.
Mm-hmm.
Decides he's gonna hang himself from a tree.
Yeah.
Can't kill himself for whatever reason. Hellboy even comes across him and he's like, kill me. Put me out of my misery. And Hellboy's like, alright. Like shoots him like 12 times. And Grogunch is hanging there and he's like, Hellboy's like, sorry, tried, and then carries on. He's just still hanging there. I love that. He's like the guy in Austin Powers that doesn't die when he gets tossed into the pit. But before Hellboy tries to give him,
yeah,
cold justice.
give him the business.
Yeah. Hellboy and Alice make their way to a small cottage where they kind of hold down, they turn on the TV, and they find out that all hell is breaking loose all across the country. These Leviathan creatures are emerging from the ground, mirroring what's happening in BPRD at this time, actually.
Yeah. Is this the whole Hell on Earth ordeal yet?
Right before that.
Okay.
It kicks it off. The end of Hellboy kicks off BPRD Hell on Earth, which is like their second installment or whatever you call that.
Sure.
It's very much like the end of days are happening.
Right
Lightning striking, people are getting obliterated, like cities are getting wiped out. It's bad times.
Badass, you mean?
Yes, it's very badass. There's several Metallica songs about it. And then they look out the window, and what do they see? The army of Britain's noble dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting for a leader.
That's right.
Decomposing, falling to pieces.
Right.
There, looking for someone to lead them into battle.
Right. They're ready to rumble.
They
just
are.
Need,
They
just
are.
need the good old Braveheart speech. Let's go! But who is going to do it?
Not Hellboy.
No, he is not.
He has no speeches prepared. I guess that's that.
Dusts his hands off.
That's this.
Goes out the back door.
Yeah.
Just that Simpsons clip where you can hear like, I need something from my car. He runs out, you hear a car squeal, plane drive by. He's out of there.
Yeah. So Hellboy doesn't want any part of this. He takes off. He leaves Excalibur with Alice, and then he heads into the woods because he's gonna fight Nimue, mano y mano.
Yeah. A lot of things you just said right there were incorrect.
Pronunciation-wise?
Yes.
That's how I do it.
That's your shtick, though.
That's
I get
what
it.
we do. Yeah, it's my shtick. It's totally intentional. On his way, he crosses paths with Astroth, the old bearded guy with the snaky stick.
Yep.
And he offers him a chance to lead Hell's army. Like, come on.
Yep.
Just take an army. Just lead an army, for God's sake.
Pick one of them.
Hellboy says no.
Obviously.
He's holding out.
Yep.
And then the Baba Yaga. Old Baba.
Oh, Bobby.
She comes floating over to him in her pot, her chamber pot, and says, I can get you up that castle where Blood Queen is.
Uh-huh.
All it's going to cost you one eye.
Shit.
The left
Easy.
one. Yeah.
I got two of them.
And Hellboy's finally like, okay.
All right.
And he does it. He pops that eye out, gives it to her.
Yep.
The eye he took.
Yeah.
Not the same eye, but, you know, tit for tat.
Yeah.
Some may say eye for an eye.
Nah. Not here.
And she whisks him away.
Uh-huh.
Up to the mountaintop where he's gonna get down and get rowdy. With
Down
the
and rowdy. You bet he is.
Which brings us now to the final chapter.
The Fury. The final 3 issues.
So Nimue.
Nimue.
That's it. She's now undergoing a full-on transformation.
Right.
Into the old Ogdru Jihad.
Yeah.
The 7 dragons.
She's approaching her final form.
Yes. Unwittingly. She
doesn't
in
really
over her head here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, not enjoying it.
Nah.
Got these long, gangly Freddy Krueger arms just flopping and flipping around.
Yeah.
not having a good time.
Nah.
At the pub, Alice is like, what am I going to do with this thing? And then she hears someone creaking down the stairs. It's old George Washbook himself. And you may be wondering, who is George Washbook? Well, it tells you. He is an elderly descendant of Victorian traders who once tried to assassinate the Queen. They were thwarted. He spent his life seeking redemption, trying to atone for the sins of his family, and knowing that something important was coming to him.
So, was this guy
ever in anything? Before? No, he was not.
Because even you just saying that, I'm just like,
who?
I really thought you were going to say George Washington, and I would have believed you if you would have said it. Like,
wait,
that'd be pretty cool.
Let me double check.
All right.
It's not George Washington.
Crap.
It's George Washbook.
Him and his Excalibur in one hand and wooden teeth in the other. Chomp! That'd be amazing.
That would be good. Maybe one for Amazing Screw on Head.
Let's make it happen.
Come on, Mike. What are you doing lately? Hellboy's over. But anyway, he's been holding out for this moment, apparently. And I thought this was a very strange turn for the book. But at the same time, even though he comes out of nowhere, and his ancestors are mentioned in the Witchfinder series, because Edward Grey thwarts them, but only like in passing it's mentioned.
Okay.
But he, I think, is a direct comparison to Hellboy, where he's someone who's trying to shake himself of like this curse or this burden that's been put on him by like his family or what he was raised to be. And he's been waiting for like this moment to, just turn the tides.
Sure.
Really gonna do something amazing.
Sure.
But to just drop him in here without any build up, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, I also think that. But like, okay, so I also have something to ask about Witchfinder. Have you read all of that?
Yeah.
Would I get any more out of his presence in Hellboy if I've read Witchfinder?
No, not really.
God damn it. Because, like, even, like, trying to refresh myself with the lore of Hellboy through, like, a wiki, and you're like, Edward Grey shows up here. I'm like, oh, he's the Witchfinder. And he's like, he has direct partnership with this guy, and he shows up with this guy in Witchfinder, only in Witchfinder, though, not in Hellboy.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, maybe I should read this. About hearing that, it's like, it's about as separate as, like, Hellboy and BPRD are at a point.
Yeah, I would say even more so. I really enjoy Witchfinder, and I like the character of Edward Grey, but it's a big disconnect between who he is in that and who he becomes in this.
Okay.
Because he is killed, and it's his spirit that's in all of the Hellboy books.
Right.
And it's just kind of cool to know that he was this other person, but he's so far removed now. He's still trying to do good, but he's like just this grotesque person, like assembled like Frankenstein together.
Oh man, okay.
So I would recommend it at some point, but none of it is like integral to understanding his role in Hellboy.
Okay.
Any more thoughts on George? Our boy George?
None at all.
Okay. Well, he ends up being quite pivotal to this whole thing. He gets Excalibur, and he leads Britain's noble dead into battle against the Blood Queen. Not even gonna try. Her army, and they do this full-on battle to Armageddon.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the sky's falling.
Right.
King Volt is off on his own wild hunt.
Yep.
BPRD is fighting their own monsters. It is literally hell on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, Troy.
But not the title Hell on Earth.
No, not that book. It's not that.
Okay, great.
Also in the Mignola universe, closely associated with this. It is not that.
Perfect.
So Hellboy is finally ready to square off. His final battle. Mm-hmm. She's in full dragon mode now.
Yep.
And
lost her womanly figure.
Yes. Still very slim and slender though.
That's good.
It's very serpent-like.
Very good.
And they have at it. Mm-hmm. It is an epic battle that goes about 2 issues of them just
slapping each other up.
Yep. The castle they're fighting atop is being destroyed, rubble's falling. Mm-hmm. They go all out.
Yeah.
It's all been building to this.
That's right.
I thought maybe he'd fight all 7 dragons, but just the one. You know, whatever.
Let down.
Yeah.
Is it the 7 who are 1, Dave?
It is.
Gotcha on a technicality.
But I think by the end of it, only one of them is defeated. I think there's still 6 up there.
What the fuck is going on, Mignola?
Can't knock them all out in one.
All right.
You know how long he's been building to this?
Years, most likely.
Yes. While Alice is watching all this from TV, she's told by the bartender, this very wise woman, who we later find out is Queen Mab, I think. She tells her that the world has run its course, and from its ashes, a new world will rise, and our heroes are simply doing what they can to ensure that at least the spirit of man will survive. Which, spoilers, is kind of how all of Mignola's stuff wraps up. Where it is very much the end of the world.
Yeah.
All his stuff is leading to, like, Armageddon, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
This is just kind of like the first step of it. And from here on in, it just gets worse for everybody.
Oh, God.
Like, monsters running rampant, just full-on apocalyptic.
There's no words for
No,
it.
it's... I'm at a loss.
Yeah, I kind of want to always to like dip into like BPRD around this time to see like he really shakes up the world here. Like
it's so off the rails.
Effed.
Yeah.
Okay.
We reach the point where Hellboy is pinned down by the dragon, and he sees Vasilisa one more time, and she says like, "Are you ready to die?" And he says, "I guess so."
Sure.
And then she takes the Blood Queen's crown, which is raven-shaped, and she transforms it into a dagger that is very closely resembling the old wise man from Africa's staff. A little callback to that. Hellboy takes it, chops her up real good, and defeats her.
Yep.
It's not that easy. He makes it look easy.
Right.
But she's done. She's dead. Dragon has been slain.
Kaput.
Alice comes running up the tower. She's like, "You did it!"
You fucking did it, dude!
And right before Hellboy can dust off his hands and say, "That's that," her spirit reaches up as she's being pulled down to hell by the other witches and dives into his chest, pulls out his fiery heart, and takes it down to hell with her.
That's right.
And Hellboy just crumbles to dust.
Yep.
Can't even get out a son of a, and then he's done.
It's his favorite line. Son of a.
So Hellboy's done.
He's finished.
Kaput. Alice wakes up in the traditionally dilapidated cottage that she's been in.
Yep.
She's weeping. She's not in good shape. Morgan Le Fay and Graugotch exit to their next life, claiming that neither of them want to live to see what this world's going to become. And the book wraps, and we take a look one last time at the remains of the castle where they battled. And amidst all the rubble and smoke, we see some lilies sprouting from the earth.
Beautiful.
Finn.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it comes to the total ending of this book, I'm like not completely on board with all like the Arthurian stuff, but the whole on drag out battle at the end where he's taking it to the Blood Queen or whatever, to have this like awesome, like somber, simple moment at the end, I think is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a great callback to the short story, The Nature of the Beast, where we first learn that like the true king, the hero, when he was killed, Lily sprang from his blood. So that wraps up the main Hellboy title, which ran from 1993 to 2011. The ending is short-lived, however, because Hellboy returns in 2012 in Hellboy in Hell, which is a 10-issue follow-up series where Mignola returned to both writing and art duties and chronicled Hellboy's exploits in the afterlife. It was originally pitched as just like him being able to play around and do whatever he wanted to do, tell any Hellboy story he wanted to tell, draw whatever he wanted to draw. And then it very quickly wrapped up where it's like, I think he said like, yeah, I had an end in sight and I surprised myself by how quickly I got there and then it was over. So it's like, okay.
All right.
That's that, I guess. That's that. That's that indeed, Past Dave. And might I add, you are looking just great, by the way. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
It's 2020, Dave. We're all just lucky we made it this far.
You're right. But viewers, if you are curious about more on Hellboy in Hell, we actually did a separate video on it a while back, well before we conjured HELLYEAR. So give it a watch. The link is in the bio. The description. What are we? On one of those social things?
No.
No.
More like anti-social media.
Got it. We shouldn't touch. Pandemic's still going on.
Whip and fall on the floor.
My
gallbladder.
Oh no. Is it acting up again?
Yeah.
Grinding them stones out. One thing I did want to add, however, that I just wanted to attach to this HELLYEAR finale was 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to visit the Society of Illustrators in the Big Apple, they call it, NYC. Mike Mignola was doing a exhibit there, and he was doing a Q&A, and I, wouldn't you know it, was lucky enough to get in the final question, and someone got it on record, and I got the tapes. Troy. In 2020, we have access to this kind of technology.
Tapes.
Yes. 2019, technology wasn't there yet. 2020, we got it. We got our mitts on it. And I asked him about the ending of Hellboy in Hell and how those three mysterious... You all right there?
A little itch.
All right.
couldn't stand it anymore.
All right. Thank you for persevering this far. But I asked him about his ending to Hellboy in Hell and those three mysterious shapes that pop up that we last saw in his short story, The Magician and the Snake. And I don't want to bury the lead, Troy, at the end of this episode. So I'm going to let Mike answer the question himself.
Oh, very good.
I'm going to turn it over to Mike.
The Magician and the Snake.
Yeah.
It's such a great story about the acceptance of death. And it was really beautiful to see that play a huge role at the end of Hellboy in Hell.
Thank you.
Spoilers. So I was curious if that was always your plan going in, or if that idea evolved in the writing process of Hellboy in Hell.
Because The Magician and the Snake, which is a story I made up with my daughter, or she made up, and I drew, because that I still think is the best thing I've ever done, and the most personal story, when it came to wrapping up Hellboy, as much as I wrapped him up at the end of Hellboy in Hell, I don't know at what point it probably almost started as like a joke. Oh, and then I'll have him go into a room and there'll be these shapes from The Magician and the Snake. Because I needed the ending to be my ending. I needed it to be an odd ending that felt perfect to me and not something where necessarily the entire audience would understand it. It just needed to be mine. Hellboy in Hell was a very odd comic anyway, and it really just, if I was going to end this thing, I had to end it for myself. Rather than some kind of epic battle or something like that. It just had to mean something to me. And again, I was amazingly not concerned with what the audience thought. I just, like, they're going to hate it. And actually, at the very end, I was like 2 pages away from the end, and I started thinking, no, I can't do this, because nobody's going to understand it, and they're, after following Hellboy for 25 years, they're going to want to lynch me because I did this weird fucked up ending where they're going to go, what the fuck does that mean? And then I couldn't think of anything else to do. And I had like 2 pages left. I'm like, well, I'm there. I've traveled down that road. That's the only ending I had. So basically what I hoped is that people would go read The Magician and the Snake, and then, which is again a vague story that means a lot to me, they would maybe kind of try to figure out what that story meant and then apply it to the end of Hellboy. There's a big gap there that's left open to interpretation. And when we did reprint, the end of Hellboy in Hell, we printed it with The Magician and the Snake. So at least it's in there, so you go, oh, I can't explain what the ending is, but here's this other story that has similar... I have my Mignola things, my Mignola shapes, and they mean something to me, and so I put them in there with Hellboy. So I just traveled down a hole and hoped people would follow.
So that's that. Big thanks to Mr. Mignola, Karen Green, and the Society of Illustrators for sharing that footage from that magical night. And you can check out the full Q&A that they recorded on their channel, as I link below in the description this time. And if you're ever in the New York area, give them a visit. It's a fabulous place. Had a wonderful time there. If I lived there, I'd be there every week. Every goddamn week. Let's go back, see what those jerk-offs are up to.
Yeah.
And that was that for a long period of time. And then spoilers. One more. If you've come back from the previous spoilers, here's another. Hellboy was out of commission for quite a while until 2018, where he unexpectedly pops up in BPRD, The Devil You Know.
Oh my goodness.
In issue 5. He's they make this big build up where they are gonna open up a coffin and they think it's someone else, and it's Hellboy in there, and he comes to life, and it's him right out of hell, and he fights alongside the BPRD for 10 more issues before the storyline, the Mignola-verse, wraps up for good with issue 15.
Oh my goodness.
And that's that. That's that.
That's that.
Yes.
He wakes up out of the coffin. He's like, I just had the weirdest dream, and all of it was a dream. Oh my god, that'd be awful.
And it's just Ron Perlman. It's not even...
Yeah.
They had the guy from Stranger Things playing me at one point.
What?
Yeah, but that wraps up Hellboy.
Mm-hmm. Quite a wild ride.
It is.
We kind of went through it a little bit earlier, but like it goes all over the place in a good way. Like it hits a lot of different genres.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
My favorite Hellboy stuff is Lovecraftian, occult, Nazi stuff.
Yeah, I think I like that a lot too. I do like it though when he's like kind of folding in like a little bit of lore and fantasy stuff, and he's kind of like just out and about.
Yeah, the European short adventures where like, I'll go to Norway for a bit, and here's a story about trolls.
Yeah,
yeah,
I like those too, but I think those are my heavy favorites. It's not really a shame because I do like the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't as big of a fan of it as like when it first started right out the gate.
Yeah. Well, it definitely, I feel like the last 3 arcs of the series are very drawn out.
Yeah,
it seemed like that could have been one arc in the earlier years of Hellboy.
Yeah, like almost half the book is just the ending.
Yeah, yeah, very much. And I like all of that, but it does feel like way more decompressed than it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
So this could wrap up HELLYEAR. Should it? Yes!
Yes!
My God! Wrap it up!
End it all!
Finish this!
There's a few more Hellboy things out there that I think we can touch on a little bit.
Squeeze one more episode out of this?
Yeah, squeeze it for all it's...
No!
Oh,
You
no.
fucking idiots!
Morons!
No! Do you realize what's it? I'm good with that.
Okay.
We did do a pretty good, all-encompassing look at Hellboy in Hell, like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we'll touch on that one more time. We've got a little bit more to say. No, we will not. Maybe touch on the movies. Oh, maybe.
Sure. I don't know.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I would love that.
And maybe a little something extra. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
So, until then.
As we both look at that bee to make
Oh,
sure
that
it's
fucking
still
bee.
over there.
See?
Look!
Fucking murder hornets! It's already begun. I hope you both fucking croak.
What has been your favorite part of this Hellboy adventure? Are you up to speed with the entire Mignola-verse? Let me know. Fill me in on what connects to what. I would love that Venn diagram of what all connects and not 3 separate circles or whatever it is.
There is a reading order. I have it printed out, but it's like 12 sheets of paper.
Watch for Dave's Twitter. It'll be up there soon. Are you as scared of bees as I am? Let us know in the comments down below. But until next time, where we talk more Hellboy on HELLYEAR.
That's right.
I've been Toward the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And together, we wield Excalibur as Imperius Rex.
We'll get those goddamn bees.
We're gonna fucking slice that hive up, no problem. We'll see you next time.
Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex,
Goddamn bees.
Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex, Imperius Rex, Imperius